Sal Pal Friday here on the Sports Bash this season. The pregame starts at Dunkin'. DD Perk members score a $1 medium hot or iced coffee on Eagle game days. Head to Dunkin' for your kick before kickoff. Excludes cold brews. Limited one per guest per visit. Participation may vary. It's a limited time offer. Sal Paolantonio on a Sal Pal Friday. Now, that says limited one per guest. That would not help you out. You're there buying for the people, Sal.
Oh, yeah, I know. I'm all in on Dunkin' for my guys at Lincoln Financial Field, but of course I won't be there because the Eagles are on the road this week. But
right.
And the next two. But when I'm back, baby, they look forward to it when I roll in with the donuts.
Yeah, you just mentioned it. They're on the road 3 straight here. Do you look at this 3 straight as, I don't want to say a defining stretch, but how important is this 3 straight road games for them coming up?
Well, it's important for them to go at least 2-1. That's for sure. You definitely don't want to go 1-2 and forget about 0-3. That would tank the season. So they got to win 2 out of the next 3. It's not easy. They're different matchups with different quarterbacks. But the bottom line in this particular one is this, right? You got to look at it this way. And I know Doug Pederson does not want to embrace this, but you got to think about it. Hey, the last time this team went to U.S. Bank Stadium, it was to play in the Super Bowl against the best quarterback and the best head coach of a generation. And now you're just going to face the Vikings. Yeah, the environment will be hostile, but you beat Belichick and Brady in that stadium, in the Super Bowl. You can beat Cousins and Zimmer in that stadium. And I think you got to look at it that way. A lot of things are different, but the mentality has to be that you went there and won in the biggest game in franchise history, so you can win this game.
Yeah, and this is a team that really likes to run the ball, Sal, and the Eagles are very good, best in the league at stopping the run. Do they like to run the ball because they're reluctant to lean on Cousins, or do they like to run the ball because they're really good at it?
Well, they like to run the ball because they're really good at it, and because they have a great play-action game. They play action and they roll out Kirk Cousins, and they use a lot of different rollout concepts off of play action. And we're going to show some of that on the NFL Matchup Show right at the show, starting tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock on ESPN 2, so people will want to tune in for that. But the bottom line is that Kirk Cousins is very good if you get him on the move the pocket, and get him to roll out and then open things up, especially to Adam Thielen. That's what killed the Giants last week. That's what killed the Eagles, Mike, if you remember last year. That game was it was not even close, really. I think the Eagles scored like 15 points in the fourth quarter to make it close. But Thielen had 7 for $116 and a touchdown in that game. And that's going to be a problem in this game. I'm like you, not worried about Dalvin Cook going for big numbers. I'm worried about the play action off of the running game that's going to hurt the Eagles' pass defense.
Yeah, because Thielen and Diggs are 2 very good guys, and for whatever reason, they just haven't utilized them as much as maybe they did at this stage last year. But hey, if you're looking over this Eagles defense, Sal, we've talked about it a lot. Jalen Ramsey's name keeps coming up. It doesn't seem like that's going to happen. So this might be your secondary, and if the Vikings see this secondary, it would behoove them to probably attack it. But I want to ask you, are you buying in to the pressure? They got 10 sacks last week. Is that because Fletcher Cox is getting into it and they're getting better, or is that because the Jets just are a disaster right now?
Well, the Jets' quarterback was a young quarterback who couldn't read defenses. So he couldn't read defenses. He couldn't set protection. So that really put the offensive line at a disadvantage. So I'm not buying into anything Eagles did against the Jets. You know, you're supposed to beat bad teams at home. They beat them. Move on to the next game. Does it give you a little bit of confidence? Of course it does. Because it's a good game for Fletcher Cox to be better. It's another game for Brandon Graham, utilized effectively at the defensive tackle position. In a particular game, the Vikings' offensive line, especially at the 2 guard positions, are not that great. So the Eagles' defense is not really going to have that much of a challenge in this game other than Diggs and Thielen, in my view.
On the other side, Sal, it seems like Doug Pederson came as close as Doug will come to kind of calling out a player. It seems like it might be put up or shut up time for Sidney Jones. Did you get that same feeling from what he said about Sidney?
I do, Jeff. I think it's tick-tock. Time is running out on the career of Sidney Jones. I had expected at this point that Howie Roseman would have made some kind of move for a veteran corner from. And I'm not talking about Jalen Ramsey. I mean, when you look at Jalen Ramsey, again, I'll go back to something I said last week. 2 first-round picks for a guy who's got back spasms and was in the mid-20s, ranked among Pro Football Focus starting corners last year. He wasn't even that good. So, I get the attraction because he was a first-round talent. He's got some speed. But, I'd rather them go and look at a Tremaine Johnson, maybe an Artie Burns. I'd try to go to Pittsburgh and see what you could shake out of Pittsburgh or the Jets or maybe even the Dolphins. And how he has traded with the Dolphins midseason before. I'm looking for veteran, player who can come in and make an impact like an Orlando Scandrick. And if you guys remember last week, I talked about Orlando Scandrick. Orlando Scandrick knows where to be on the field. He's a good tackler. He's a heady player. Of course, he doesn't have the speed that he once did when he was a young man, but he's a guy that they need to keep around.
Sal Paolantonio, it's a Sal Pal Friday. Yeah, Scandrick with 2 sacks last week. He had the strip sack, the strip for the touchdown. He had a really overall good game. All right, Sal, let's get a couple of Sal Pal keys to this game because really the winner of this game goes to 4-2, and they're in the discussion on Monday of who's the best team in the NFC. The loser is kind of in the muck. They're in the middle of the road here. So there's a big one kind of separating these two.
Yeah, and I think you have to look at the Eagles' offense. What they have to do is catch the football. 1, they lead the league with 12 drops, Mike Gill. The Eagles, let me repeat that. The Eagles lead the league with 12 drops. That's why Carson Wentz's numbers are so far down the list of starting quarterbacks. They got to catch the football. Carson's going to put it on them, catch it. 2, no turnovers from the running backs. I know this sounds elementary, and you would say this every week, but this is a game where you cannot make mistakes. You just cannot. Because the Vikings will not make those kinds of mistakes in most circumstances. And then number 3 for me is, without a doubt, they got to find a way to find where Adam Thielen is on the football field. Disrupt his route running. Make sure he's not running free across the middle of the field, shallow middle crosses that he makes his big money on. And that will, I think, make Kirk Cousins hold the ball on, just hold on to the ball just a beat or 2 more so that the pass rush can get to him.
Sal Pal Fridays here on the Sports Bash, 97.3 ESPN. And, all right, Eagles, you mentioned it. They can beat Brady and Belichick in that building. Do you see them beating Cousins and Zimmer on Sunday?
I do. This Eagles team is a good road team now. They've developed a real camaraderie, a real togetherness. It's a testament to the terrific coaching job that I think Doug Pederson is doing overall. Number 2, Mike, I think Tim Schwartz. He has been just so inventive with what little he has after all the injuries that they have suffered already this season. He's having one of his best years as a coach on the defensive side of the ball. I know Cousins is 5-3 against the Eagles, but I have the Eagles winning this game 27-23.
27-23, Sal Paolantonio. And Eagles pregame starts at Dunkin' DD Perks. Members score a $1 medium hot or iced coffee on Eagle game days. Head to Dunkin' for your kick before kickoff. Eagles fans run on Dunkin'. Sal Pal's Fridays run on Dunkin'. Where are you going to be at, Sal?
I'm at the Meadowlands for Dallas and the Jets.
Ooh, all right. We'll see what happens there. It's 2 in a row for Dallas. They've stumbled 2 in a row. Why? Because they're turning the ball over, right?
Yeah, turning the ball over, and they're not relying on their best player, who's Zeke Elliott. And you know, they got to go back to basics. I'm very interested to see how Sam Darnold plays, and whether or not that does anything to resuscitate this absolutely pathetic Adam Gase offense. I mean, I look at Adam Gase, and what they're doing. He could be one and done in New York. He could be one and done. I mean, honestly, I don't see how you would bring him back if you can't figure out how to get Sam Darnold and Le'Veon Bell to score some points.
You know, that's not far-fetched. By the way, at Sal Pal ESPN, Instagram, get his instant analysis. The Matchup Show, ESPN2. Make sure you set your DVR if you're not awake in time. It's outstanding television, and he's a part of the Sports Bash every Friday. It's a tradition like any other. No other. Sal Pal Fridays. Thank you, Sal.
Okay, gentlemen. Thank you, Mike. Thanks, Jeff.